Hey, true believers, Chris Mack coming at you today with Action Comics 684. This is the Death of Superman, Part 5, and this is where things really begin to get violent. Superman is seeing what's happening as the entire League has been decimated. Him and Maxima were taken down with little to no effort on the side of Doomsday. They were completely blown up in an explosion last issue from the gas station thanks to Maxima. But just look at this trail of destruction, and I love how they kick off the series. But before we get into that, let's talk about who made this book. This is Roger Stern writer, Jackson Geese and Dennis Rodrier. Artists, Bill Oakley letter, Glenn Whitmore colorist, Jennifer Frank assistant, Mark Carlin was the editor. Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, and the print date on this was December 1992. It says a battle has raged across half the nation since midday and has left several members of the Justice League seriously injured. The Blue Beetle is reported to be comatose and Blue Booster Gold seriously injured. Following, one moment. This just handed me. The village of Griffith in upstate Kirby County has rocked by an explosion moments ago as Superman and Maxima fought to stop the creature dubbed Doomsday, whose rampage has broken the JLA and left a trail of death and destruction behind them despite their efforts. However, the creature is reportedly still on the loose. Civil defense units in cities along the eastern seaboard are on alert as authorities try to determine if, and it begins to trail off and it says, Doomsday is near. And then you see the fallout of the last battle. That is a great way to lead in to an issue. Now, Superman sees all the harm that Doomsday is causing as we just see him plow and destroy this overpass on the highway. And there's no rhyme or reason to what he's doing. So Superman tells Guardian, I've got to take him on alone. Because, it doesn't want to risk anyone else. He's talking about how horrific and traumatizing it was to see Guy Gardner's face smashed in, seeing Ted Kord, the Blue Beetle, in a coma, and what happened to Booster. He's just, no, I'm going to take this character on, and if it, I'll defeat him if it's the last thing I do, which was some great little, foreshadowing. And Superman's he's taken aback by all this. He goes, damn, I don't see any survivors among the wreckage. Looks like there's dozens of chain reaction fender benders up and down both highways. Lots of minor injuries there. And there's a state trooper on the scene. Good. I hear rescue vehicles on the way. So even though he knows he needs to put Doomsday down, he's glad that there's people that can be saved and that there's rescue people on the way. And I love the way that this panel uses his X-ray vision, how on the outskirts of this panel you kind of see zoomed out with just a little circle which zooms into the destruction here, and that's just a great way to use not his X-ray vision but his supervision, I guess you could say. But even if he has a moment of relief, he realizes that Doomsday's on his way to Lexmark, which always threw me off. But, Lex Luthor being the richest man, one of the richest men in the world, is able to have his own chain stores. And they just see Doomsday tear into this store. Now, this part kind of made me laugh, and it makes sense as the book comes to a close because whenever you see spiky dialogue like this, it's usually like a TV or a radio, and you see Doomsday in the midst of all this stuff that he's done, and it says, yeah, I'm talking to you, loser. Come closer. You don't want to miss a single moment of the greatest spectacle in the history of professional wrestling. I'm talking tag teams. I'm talking steel cages. I'm talking knockdown, drag-out, grudge matches. And I just love this faux Hulk Hogan, because you're just waiting for him to say, what you gonna do, brother, when the Hulkster's after you? I'm Major Mayhem Troopers, and I'm out for blood. No, there's only one like that, and that's Sergeant Slaughter. Anyway, I'm talking on the mighty Gorilla, Ugly Ben Studley, and the Masked Bone Crusher, and I will prevail. This time it's war. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. You get it. But anyway, he just says, coming to a Metropolis Arena. Now where you gonna go? I just love how the repetitiveness is what hits Doomsday in the head, because after all that, Superman finally busts in, and we just get into some straight violence. And all the while, Supergirl, which is not really Supergirl, I would call her Faux Girl, and she wants to go help her quote-unquote cousin, but Lex won't let her. He says, you need to stay here on standby. And I just love how we get the duality of Lex Luthor, or Lex Luthor Jr., or whatever they want to call him, Alexander Luthor, whatever it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. But she's like, okay, I'll stay for now. As if Superman ever really needs help, he's always survived despite my best laid plans. Then he says, oh, you'll see, love. And you start seeing things starting to build up in that regard. And the artwork, I mean, love these action lines, the punching, just beautiful paneling. You don't see that they wanted to rush to get this done. It feels like they took their time. And again, as I said, when they laid out the death of Superman, they did a super conference so that everyone was on the same page. But I mean, look at every panel. It's not boring. It's dynamic. And you see where the next part of the battle takes place, which is supposed to be this abandoned kind of a wildlife area that's restricted even to airspace, which is Project Cadmus, which kind of leads us into future parts of the Action Comics series. And then apparently this habitat's important. It says the tree city grown by the creations of the Cadmus Project. Superman was last seen here in the trademark or landmark issue, Action Comics 655. And Superman even references how these these wood beams, even though they're organic in nature, he says they're almost as heavy as a steel pipe. He's saying, I'm getting tired. It hurts to punch this guy. I need something heavy. And he goes, oh yeah, something big. And right here he says these support columns, they may be organic, but their heart is tempered steel. And even tearing these off and smashing Doomsday with them is not enough. And at this point, Guardian tries to come and assist. And Superman says, I'm too wasted. I need to rest. As soon as I make sure Doomsday's stopped. Which leads us into this panel. So you can see that the Superman at this point has been worn down from just non-stop fighting with this creature that he states in here is a bigger threat than any earthly or cosmic being he's ever come across. He references Drago, which was the champion of Warworld, I think it was, and then other regular villains that he fights on the regular. So I love how the writing team made sure to build up how big of a threat Doomsday is supposed to be for the Man of Steel. And I just love the foreboding in the background of the cover as it says Metropolis, X amount of miles. Which, speaking of, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. I wanted to reference that, my brain decided to go on a little vacation. Hold on a minute. After, remember the TV commercial we were talking about with the wrestling? There's a part where Doomsday starts going, Metropolis, Metropolis, and Superman says, oh, thanks to that stupid commercial. And so that's where it says here, it says, we have to warn these poor people, this is Lois talking, that Doomsday is coming. And that's just a great way to end off an issue. Superman worn completely out. Half of the city's heroes just completely taken down for the count. And we have this threat larger than life going to the biggest metropolitan city in this DC universe. So guys, excellent issue. Great fighting. And I just love how everything just slowly built up like a slow burn until we finally start getting into the action. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and grab this issue or the collected trades, wherever, either your local comic shop or wherever it is you like to grab your comics and action figures. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little Doomsday bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below. So with all that said, I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.